Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. It's March 14th, 2025, Pie Day 3.14. So go out there, eat some apple pie, pizza pie, pumpkin pie, whatever pie you want. It's on me. Not really, but, break that New Year's sort of resolution and go enjoy yourself. It doesn't count today. Calories don't count on Pie Day. All right, I got all your stories here in one place. We are missing a bird. That's right, one of the eaglets we've been following either was thrown out of the nest or may have ventured out on his own. This is not the Pixar story, though, for the week. It is sad. Also, James Bond updates why they're going to keep it British, and the Luigi Defense Fund tops $1 million. What does that say about the grassroots effort to fight the billionaire class? Plus, Blake Lively beef at South by Southwest. A sort of TikToker was harassed, so she claims. I'm going to share what she had to say about this wild interaction with Blake Lively at a hotel. And Meryl Streep and Martin Short. MS plus MS. Are they dating? Looks like so, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And then we have ex-federal workers and veterans speaking out following the mass layoffs. A lot to get into. We're here for it. All these stories and more happening right now on The Rush. As you guys know, we like to lead with a good animal story here, and we're finding out that only 2 eaglets have been spotted this morning in the nest in Big Bear. One of my Patreon members said, see, this is why the eagles are endangered. They keep throwing their babies out of the nest. We don't know what might have happened, although they do have a 24-hour live stream, so I wonder if they, maybe missed where that third eagle is. Is it alive or not? Let's find out.
John Gregory, we want to check in on our favorite eagles up in Big Bear, Jackie and Shadow, along with their chicks. Well, friends of Big Bear Valley sharing this morning that only 2 eaglets were visible during their first feeding session. That doesn't mean we should worry yet about the third chick, because they say they can't see the entire nest because the view remains partially obstructed because of all that snow. We will, of course, continue to monitor this and check in on the eagles throughout the morning.
Look, I don't mean to bum anybody out. It's a Friday afternoon. You're ready to have a margarita, and we just found out we might have lost an eaglet. But how about this? Here's Shadow's reaction. Shadow comes back, got some dead birds to feed the chicks, and finds out there might only be 2 left. So again, Shadow's like, yo, where's your sibling? What the? Oh, no. Yeah, and they're saying, well, we've been fighting each other, so... But if I look at it, there's this big rim of snow around them. How could they possibly have escaped? You know what I mean? Or did a predator get to them? I don't know. Folks, if we get any updates, trust me, we'll be covering it here at the Rush Hour. And I hate to leave you on that note, but that's just where we stand. We'll get to that wombat story in a minute, but let's go to Luigi Mangione. His legal defense fund has crossed $1 million, which just goes to show there is an appetite for people in this country to seek justice. Now, you might say, well, justice, he's the murderer. Well, maybe, but also the system is so messed up, people are rooting him on. And whether you like it or not, it exists. Have a listen to this.
All right, let's talk about this defense fund. It's $723,000 and counting. Could be $1 million by the end of the week. What is going on?
Just so you know, I've done this for a while. I have never seen anything like this before in my life. Now, I've seen support for people where you might say, the evidence is flimsy. I think they're being wrongfully prosecuted. I think somebody's on death row and they shouldn't be. But where you have the evidence where, and yes, he's innocent until proven guilty, but where the evidence looks really strong, like he committed this crime, and people are raising money to not for his innocence, but because they're in support of allegedly what he did, and you have these anonymous donors.
No, they're not just giving money, they're writing letters of support.
Yeah, so writing letters of support. It's very clear what this is. And how much was raised so quickly is remarkable.
And of course, I'm not surprised whatsoever, not because I am for people killing each other, but because the system is so greatly flawed that it cannot be fixed. It needs to be rebuilt. The system that we have now makes the insurance companies billions of dollars. We get terrible health care. And folks have said, well, in other countries, there's long wait times, but How's it working out for us here? My son needed to get some very simple work done, and it was a 3-month wait. You know what I mean? And we pay what, $1,500 a month, and then on top of that, it's tens of thousands of dollars to even have a baby. This system is messed up. We can do it cheaper if we take out the insurance class. And Luigi, fed up, took matters into his own hands, allegedly. It doesn't make it right, but you can understand why we might start seeing more violence of this type, because polite society goes away when it doesn't work for the people. Well, it's not a polite society in Australia, and God bless them. They were ready to kick out that U.S. tourist, but they didn't have to. She fled. U.S. tourist who enraged the world after manhandling a baby wombat flees Australia. So I could get into the nitty gritty, but here she is. Now, part of me wants to feel bad for her because it's like, all right, she just picked the wombat up and put it down, but obviously it was wrong. It was super distressing to pick up a baby wombat. It's an adorable creature. It is not endangered, but it is protected. And my thought is, well, she probably learned her lesson real quickly. The whole internet's against her. She loves animals, and now there's this dark stain around it. But then, she shows all the photos of her kind of doing, I don't know if it's trophy hunting or what. Listen, I'm not against people, against hunters, because I think we all have to understand where our food comes from. There's definitely a nuance to it all. And maybe she really was an advocate for animals, but I don't know. There's something that doesn't sit right with me when people pose with the animals that they killed. It's like, I get, you might have to use it for food and nourishment, but also it seems as though it's getting a little weird at this point. But either way, she left the country before they deported her, and she has since gone sort of silent on Instagram. But there's your update. So it doesn't look like she'll be getting rehired at PETA anytime soon. Let's go to Josh Allen, one of the biggest quarterbacks out there, married to Haley Steinfeld, right? Steinfeld. Josh Allen explains why he didn't push to get the biggest contract. He actually took a little bit of a discount, and he says, you know what? Who needs that extra $5 million? Have a listen.
When you start getting these fairly big numbers throughout the entire league, it's weird to say this, but what's 5 more going to do for my life that I can't already do right now, right? So it's not that crazy to me, right? Like, I live a pretty good life. Got a house, got a car, we're good. But I wasn't looking to absolutely kill them in every chance that I could. And I told my agent that. I was like, hey, if this has any impact on the pack, or impact on the cap, I should say, let's figure out a way to not do that. So
there it is. So it takes a $5 million discount to stay with the team. And this is a decent strategy because, there is a cap, which means the team can only spend X amount of dollars per year. Tom Brady used to do this. He would take a little bit of a discount. That way they can spend that money on better wide receivers or better offensive linemen to keep you protected. And I think what it goes to show is when you are not selfish, when you sort of give to the team, whatever that team is, wherever your work environment is, or, charity work or just your family life, when you give to those around you, you're actually helping yourself out because you're building a better community and everyone will do better in that scenario. Just something to remember. It's not always about top dollar. Now, when all else is the same, get your money, get your bag, of course, but interesting stuff there. All right, coming up next, we've got James Bond stories to get to, and then after that, we'll have your Blake Lively tea. Oh, James Bond, you gotta love it, right? I have this theory that everyone's favorite James Bond is whoever they grew up with. Mine is Pierce Brosnan. He was absolutely my favorite. Some people say, no, Sean Connery, whatever, boomer. No, I'm kidding. But former 007 Pierce Brosnan insists any future James Bond must not be American after Amazon takeover. I love it. It's like you can, because Amazon and Jeff Bezos essentially bought the rights to, or licensed the rights for the next Bond movie. And it's like, I get it. We don't need to hire some random, what's a Tom Cruise looking person? Keep them British or Irish. He was an Irish guy. And I know they weren't all Irish and British, or were they? Either way, the point is, UK, you guys can keep James Bond. You created him, he's yours. We're not trying to have an American Harry Potter. You know what I mean? You do you, we'll do us. Either way, another James Bond story. James Bond will remain British and male under Amazon's management of the character, they say. And I think what they should do is, I think all of the former James Bonds should get together in some sort of roundhouse meeting, and all the former Moneypennies, Justice for Moneypenny. I think they should all get together in sort of as some sort of like conclave. Summit. The summit of bonds. They should all get together and decide who will be the next Bond. Also, can they do like a Bond Avengers where they all come back? Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan, the whole Dalton, whatever, all of the different Bonds. Bring them all back together and do some sort of like, Avenger Bond thing. All right. And Meryl Streep couldn't help but fall for Martin Short. Insider says they're completely unexpected romance. He makes her laugh. I think I have a video of them somewhere. Here they are. Let's go to the video. Here's the video of them on the red carpet. I love it. Meryl Streep and Martin Short are dating. There he is. I mean, Martin Short's one of the greatest comedic actors of all time, right? I mean, boy, do you remember him from Father of the Bride? Him and Steve Martin are fantastic together. And Meryl Streep is probably the best actress of all time, if you could quantify that as far as most awards nominee. Or she's up there. She's on the Mount Rushmore. So I like them together. I'm all about it. Meryl Streep, Martin Short, if they want to start an OnlyFans page together, maybe if the projects run dry, I'm here for you. All right, so I think that takes us to our featured story of the day. We're going to have Blake Lively, and I'm going to share this TikTok and what was said about this odd encounter. First, let's go to our pal Zach Peter. He had Stuart Albertson and Keith Davidson on to discuss the big story of the week, which was who's winning the battle between Discovery, what will be shown out there. Blake Lively technically won a partial motion for protective order, but as Keith Davidson and Stuart Albertson say, Justin's getting more than he needs.
I gave the win to Baldoni. I mean, I think Lively got a few things that she wanted, but if I was on the Lively side and listening to and looking at what their arguments were, I wouldn't feel good about this. I'd feel like we kind of lost the battle. Whereas on Baldoni's side, I'd be like, we had to give up a couple things that we don't care about, but by and large, we got what we wanted.
So there it is. I mean, it's people can spin it in any direction they want, but if there's any evidence out there that they need, they're going to be able to get their hands on it. All right. Well, speaking of getting your hands on things, this content creator made several very long videos explaining what went down and then made a truncated version. I'm going to share the truncated version. She was staying at a hotel out after South by Southwest that it turns out Blake Lively was also staying at. She was waiting in the lobby, took a quick video of Blake Lively, and then as it turns out, she says she was followed by Blake Lively when she was checking out to her car. Blake Lively got her attention and filmed her. That wasn't even the weird part. Afterwards, she started getting troll messages from people that she believes were from Blake Lively's nanny, amongst other people. Here is her story.
Okay, couple comments like this, giving myself 60 seconds, short version, let's go. My mom and I were staying at Hotel 1928 in Waco, Texas this weekend. Blake Lively and her team were staying there as well after South by Southwest in Austin on Friday night. We found this out from all the hotel staff, ended up recording her coming into the hotel lobby. We were just hanging out, people watching. Her team caught wind of this, I believe, maybe saw me recording her on the security camera.
So at this point, it's like, okay, well, you were hanging out to go find Blake Lively. People watching is one thing. People videotaping, while it is illegal. Although, if you're in a private residence, it's up to the hotel to decide if you're allowed to film or not. If you're in public, you're allowed to film. But either way, you could understand that would be annoying. But to take this further, we have what's called the Streisand effect.
Did not like this, thought maybe I recorded something they didn't want out there, didn't want me to see, whatever. Next morning, we kind of were being followed by her security guard a little bit on the way out, checking out of the hotel. Blake Lively herself comes out, starts recording us, says hi to get us to look up at her, circles our car, gets the car information, license plates, all that. Online harassment started the next day. Her lawyer, her social media person, her nanny were looking at my stories. They ended up making troll accounts, and someone called me fat. Long versions are on here if you want them.
So, yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting stuff. I feel bad. It's so bizarre. I mean, I can't think of a scenario why Blake Lively herself would try to get their information. Only maybe is if she's wondering if they're working with a paparazzi or maybe Blake Lively's so paranoid to think that she's being followed by Secret Service, followed by like a private investigator. I truly don't know. Either way, people have questioned this TikToker and said, hey, are you making this up or not? As people do. And here is DJ Hungry Human 1 saying that she was sent the lobby video. It's underwhelming, but it actually does prove that the story's true.
Okay, I've seen the Blake Lively lobby video. Kate sent it to me. I can verify its existence. I won't be posting it. I don't blame her for not posting it. It's nothing exciting. Like, you can barely tell it's Blake. You see her for a split second and she has her hand up. But you can hear her. It's clearly Blake Lively's voice, and she's being very loud. So it's like, yeah, that's her. I will say that Blake is very consistent. She is consistently sabotaging herself and consistently dragging new people into this, which I personally love. Now, Joanna Gaines, you've entered the chat.
Yeah, so this is Chip and Joanna's hotel, apparently. I could be wrong, but was there security cameras there to capture this? But even if there were, nothing illegal happened as far as Blake filming them back. It's just one of those examples where, and I understand the urge to fight back if you feel like someone's trolling you or sort of violating your privacy. I understand the urge, but usually when a celebrity claps back, it makes the celebrity look bad. And I think in a case like this, especially with something so high profile, the best thing Blake can do is just ignore it, understand she's in a semi-public area, a gift shop, a hotel lobby. While it might be a private place, it's like, that's what the back door is for. When you're a super big celebrity, you go through the kitchen all the time. Again, I'm not saying that that's right. It kind of stinks if you have to do that, but that's where they're at. So here's the other update from Collide with Kate, where she says, did you record while Blake Lively was recording you? Which would have been insane. It would have been insane if she had the camera going, but as it happened, she didn't.
Okay, this one. No, I did not. I was so caught off guard that instead of putting my big duffel bag in the backseat of my mom's car, I had it still with me when I got in the front seat and it was on my lap. Yeah.
And look, I get it.
It's florals.
It's floral. She was a florist. I get it. I understand. Who would have thought to record? How bizarre. How bizarre. How bizarre. All right. Well, that does our Blake Lively content for the day. We had a lot. I mean, we really had a lot of Blake stuff to get to. If you didn't check out my previous video, we covered so much, including this bizarre Taylor Lorenz phone interview she did with KCRW, and she really conflated and butchered the whole story, made it into her own political agenda. It's absolutely wild. Go check that out if you haven't. All right, let's come back here with some political news, or it shouldn't be political. Ex-federal employees and veterans speaking out, having just been laid off. That story next. We're going to be getting so many of these testimonials of federal employees that have been let go. A lot of them probably voted for Trump, and some might be hired back, but a lot of park rangers and people that are doing good work. Here's Isabel Isaacson sharing her story as she was let go after fighting the fire season this past fall. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is an American hero.
Isabella Isaacson. I am an Olympian, an Army veteran, and until recently, an officer for the Ochiko National Forest in Oregon. I have dedicated my life to serving this country and what we stand for: liberty and justice. That's the country I signed up to represent as an Olympic athlete, to protect as a soldier, and to serve as a U.S. Forest Service officer. Like the thousands of other federal workers, I was recently fired from my position due to an alleged failure to perform and a determination that my continued service was not in the public's interest. From May to October of 2024, I worked all but 2 days during one of the nation's most intense fire seasons. I sacrificed sleep, personal time, and holidays to ensure the public had timely, accurate, and life-saving information. I poured everything I had into my job because I knew what was at stake: lives, homes, and the future of the places we love. But my story is not unique. Nationwide, thousands of federal workers who were illegally fired make the same sacrifices to get the job done. We have given our all. I have given my all, time and time again for my country. Where is the justice in what is happening to civil servants nationwide? Now is the time for all Americans across every state and political party to speak up for the kind of country we want to be.
It's powerful stuff. I mean, and the truth is, all of the federal employees, every single one of them employed in the whole country, only makes like 4% of the total budget. And by that, you look at what is the collateral damage done by everyone losing their job. And it's more significant than you think, because it's not about cutting waste, right? If it was about cutting waste, we would crack into the defense budget, which they said they were going to do, and they haven't. And also, all of the money that has been saved, they said it would be $4 trillion. It won't even be $1 trillion. But all of the money that they said has been saved actually is just going to go to the tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. So it's not like we're going to see the change. It's just going to be money no longer paid in taxes by super rich people. So next time you go, and again, it's going to be something that you start to notice here and there. You're going to go to a national park. The bathroom doors are going to be locked. You're going to go somewhere else. That's not going to be taken care of. The roads might have you're going to see this play out in different ways. And then look at the collateral damage. If hundreds of thousands of employees lose their jobs, how do those families get money to go to restaurants, to go to movie theaters, to go get that donut from the local donut shop? So many people will be affected by the lack of work. All of the farmers that no longer have inventory or have people to sell their peanut butter, to, because we were, helping out other communities with it. It's going to affect so many people across so many ways. And all of that damage for what? We're not going to receive a penny for it. This is the greatest firing of veterans in our country's history. And here is a clip of, who is this? Is this Tim Kaine? Here discussing DOGE cuts and how it's disrupting the Department of Veteran Affairs.
You're going to get me really angry about this. Donald Trump has fired more veterans than any president in the history of the United States, and he's been in office less than 2 months, and he's not done. When you do willy-nilly firings in the federal workforce, 30% of the federal workforce is veteran. It's less than 5% in the civilian workforce. So you are firing veterans, and he knows it because he's been president before, and Russ Vought, the OMB director, has been OMB director before. They know who is the workforce. So this is a war on veterans. Then you take it to the next level, all these VA cuts. I went to the opening of a brand new Veterans Administration clinic down near Fredericksburg a couple Fridays ago. State of the art. We spent $350 million to do it. It unified a whole bunch of different clinics because veterans were having to drive from here to there to everywhere. Put it in this state of the art facility, but because of hiring freezes and the VA administrators plan to lay off a whole lot more people, it opens up with a skeleton crew. We don't want to just have a nice parking lot and a nice building.
And that's the problem, right? Is that there'll be a skeleton crew. Then they'll say, oh, these systems don't even work. And that's because you broke it. So they're breaking things. And then rather than fix them, say, hey, it's broken. And then where does the money go when systems do come back? Are we going to refund them? Can we even get in touch with these employees that have been fired? A lot of good people that have lost their jobs definitely won't be wanting to go back to that sort of instability. It's a big problem. It's a big problem out there, folks. It really is. And I'm not here to be a big Debbie Downer, but a lot of collateral damage for very little good, for an insignificant level of good. We will not save any money on our taxes. Is this the world we want to live in? That's the question. And a lot of people say no, and they're fighting back, and they're going to town halls, and they're booing the VP when he goes to the Kennedy Center. I mean, we are seeing the grassroots unification happen. It's just, I don't think the type that our president envisioned when they did these cuts. Cuts are a good thing. Audit them first. Audit all of the problems and cut waste, but do it strategically. And right now, that's why we're seeing sort of a market correction and all these other issues come up. So, folks, that's where we're at. I don't mean to end on a buzzkill, but it's good to see that people are finally speaking out about it, and we'll be on that side to fight for the middle class, really. I mean, it's not like a real tough sell, right? I mean, I don't think anyone in our audience are billionaires. And if you are, maybe you should pay a little bit extra in taxes because you'll never spend that money in the first place, and it's better for the greater good of society. All right, well, you're leaving work right now. You're excited. It's Pi Day. You got a slice of pizza in one hand. You got apple strudel in the other. We like to do something on Fridays when we leave work. Walk out of that office building, kick those double doors down, rev up the car engine, and as you drive away, put your middle fingers up and tell your boss to go fuck himself. It's the freaking weekend, baby. We're about to have us some fun. We'll be back tomorrow. I will have content this week, and we'll see you then. I'm Dave Neal. This is The Rush.